Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good to have you back with us at Somaliland National Television. This is the English news with me, Mohammed Adan. Let's take a look at the main stories making headlines. President of Somaliland sends congratulations to the elect President of Turkey. House of Representatives Permanent Committee for the Finance met with the Minister of Finance. The Secretary of the House of Representatives informs achievements made by the House. In a statement issued by the President's Press Secretary, the President of Somaliland, Ahmed Mohamed Mahmoud Silani, sent congratulations to the elect President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has recently been elected as the new leader of the Republic of Turkey. The President congratulated to the new elect President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The President also commended the Turkish President for the development he portrayed in his country and the way he always stands to help develop other countries. President Ahmed Silani complicated the new Turkish President, who previously served as Prime Minister, role in standing shoulder to shoulder with Somaliland to ensure more progress for the Somaliland citizens. The President of Somaliland, Ahmed Mohamed Mahmoud Silani, held a meeting with members of Cabinet. The meeting was focused on the civic and voter registration law, which was ratified by the Cabinet Ministers. Members of Cabinet have ratified the civic and voter registration law. As the spokesman of the President, Ahmed Salaban Duhul, told the press, this law was ratified in order to make sure that elections are held on time. Civic registration will first be processed to ensure that citizens are registered. In the same process, voter registration will be made, and only bearers of the voter ID will have eligibility to cast their ballots in the elections due to be held in the 2015. Press Secretary of the Somaliland President, Ahmed Salaban Duhul, is speaking on recent statements made by the opposition figures. He stated that opposition figures are desperate and their anxiety is apparently related to challenging the current administration and the ruling political party in the elections due to be held. President of Somaliland, Ahmed Mohamed Mahmoud Silani, held a banquet lunch for the participants of a recent book fair which was held in the capital of Somaliland, Hargeisa. The banquet lunch held by the President at the Presidential Palace had in attendance several dignitaries. The participants of the recent book fair were in attendance and were invited by the President to the banquet lunch. Sheikh Dalmar and Abwan Rashid Gadwene spoke at the event and discussed achievements made toward Somali literature, as well as increasing the number of people who read and write, through which illiteracy can ultimately be reduced. Illiteracy rates are high in Somaliland, although recently more have been done and literacy rates are going up to an optimum level. Sheikh Dalmar stated that such book fairs will weaken the illiteracy and will be benefited by the people, particularly students that need to further their knowledge. The Permanent Committee of the House of Representatives for the Financial Affairs held a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Abdulaziz Mohamed Samale, to discuss issues relating to next year's fiscal budget. Members of the Permanent Committee of the House of Representatives in charge of the Financial Affairs and the Minister of Finance, accompanied by high-profile officials of the ministry, discussed issues relevant to the continuing effort aimed to prepare next year's fiscal budget. They focused on an increase in the fiscal budget that will possibly be prior to the beginning of next year. Minister of Finance Abdulaziz Mohamed Samale spoke to the media on a fiscal change. He stated that the Ministry of Finance is preparing the fiscal budget that will be presented to the House of Representatives to ratify it prior to next year. Parliamentarians also speaking to SLN TV commended Ministry of Finance for undertaking this work and the fiscal budget will soon be ratified. The Secretary of the House of Representatives, Abdirizaq Saeed Ayanla, granted an exclusive interview to SLN TV to discuss achievements made by the House regarding reforms being made toward several legislations. Abdirisaq Saeed Ayanle stated that the House was represented for ensuring that the government remains at the whim of its citizens. The House has successfully implemented reforms on several legislations which are necessary for ensuring more progress and development on several areas. Secretary Ayanle also stressed strong cooperation between the House of Representatives and the current administration, as well as the other government institutions. He said that the House has a mandate to work with the government and scrutinize every step taken by the government to promote transparency and openness among the government institutions. At the heart of legislations passed by the House is the human rights law, in addition to several other laws. These are necessary for preserving the rights of all Somaliland citizens and people residing across the country. Punishment of perpetrators has also been in place. This was ratified previously. Hassan Saudi Hirsi, a renowned political figure speaking to SLN TV on recent statements made by the opposition figures, described their action as stark derail and something that won't positively add anything to the political landscape of Somaliland. Hassan Saudi Hirsi strongly condemned the unconstitutional conduct of opposition figures and the recent statement in which they called for an interim government to be brought to office soon after the date that the current administration is holding power expires. A former diplomat and renowned political figure, Hassan Saudi, reiterated that opposition figures are the checks and balance system by which every nation is able to boost transparency and justice throughout the government institutions. He said they were not expected to derail from their constitutional mandate, as they urged the government to transfer responsibilities to an interim government. This would seem irrelevant to what's going on in the political landscape of Somaliland. And as the political figures say, it seems that though opposition figures are not ready to go into contest against the current administration in the elections set to be held next year. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining. Join us at the same time tomorrow. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.